Hello everyone. I would like to talk about the importance of hope. Start off, teenagehood is a difficult time where feelings of self-doubt and poor self-esteem heavily arise. It's almost as if we lose that magical freedom of being a young child who doesn't care about what others think of us or how we look. Most importantly, we lose sight of hope. When we were younger, we would look forward to going to school every day, seeing our friends, socializing, learning something new. Yet now, it can often be hard to find even a small part of life to be excited about. But I will dive into that a bit later. First, imagine this. An 11-year-old girl in 6th grade. She's known as being grumpy, sad, quiet, the smart girl, pouring all of her limited energy into her work. She has a few friends she casually talks to, but no one truly knows her. No one knows the endless chain of self-destructive thoughts in her head. No one knows the amount of times she ran to the bathroom in the middle of class, sat on the windowsill, stared blankly into space, begging herself not to cry. And she comes home every day filled with misery. She looks in the mirror and picks apart every single part of her body. From her thighs to the eyelashes that cover her eyes, she creates a list of things in her head she wishes she could change about herself. Her arms, her cheeks, her lips, her hair, her nose, her waist, her legs. This list goes on and on, really. Did you really think this was only skin deep? Oh, please. She can't stand her personality either. She wishes she could be stronger, not so emotional, easier to deal with. Each day, she falls asleep, wishing she wouldn't have to wake up the next morning. Just sleep and sleep until all of her days end. On top of all of that, she's completely alone in this world. She has little to no, even slightly positive communication with her family, and doesn't believe that a single person on this planet cares even a little bit about her. Because throughout all of this chaos going on in her head and around her, not a single person truthfully asked how she was doing, or if she was okay, and wanted to know. But let's be realistic. Even if somebody asked, what would she have said? She doesn't trust anyone, and how do you explain to someone how much you hate the person you are, and that sometimes you just get this empty feeling in your stomach? How do you explain to someone how much you want to disappear? Now, before I continue, I understand that many of you may think that an 11-year-old knows nothing about self-hatred or loneliness. Well, here are just a few statistics that prove otherwise. In 2016, every 100 minutes, a teenager took their own life. That same year, suicide was the third leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 24, and 20% of all teens had experienced depression before reaching adulthood. In 2017, there were 1.4 million suicide attempts in the US alone. If you look at this graph here, you can physically see the rapid increase in yearly suicide rates from the year 2007 to 2014. And the sad part is, these numbers are only increasing. For this vital reason, I believe that our society should stop belittling younger generations for having such thoughts as the young girl, all because we don't have real problems, right? Well, wrong. You see, solely because we're teenagers, many people may think that these thoughts don't matter, that they'll miraculously go away, and that one day we'll just wake up feeling perfectly fine. In reality, this type of thinking leads to teens closing up and not sharing these self-doubtful feelings, which eventually destroy them. Let's fast forward to hear from the story of the young girl. She's now a 7th grader and realizes there was a person there for her all along. A person that she never expected to be so close with, and the only person who truly asked what was wrong and wanted to know. But you know what that girl did? She pushed her friend away without realizing it, solely because she was so used to dealing with issues by herself and others not worrying or caring. Then again, maybe the people around her just asked the wrong question at the wrong time. You see, when people asked her, why are you so grumpy, or why are you so sad, it never sounded like they wanted a real, honest answer. It's like the American, how are you? No one ever expects you to say the truth. These type of questions lack sincerity, especially when asked during or in between lessons. To answer them truthfully, it would take more than one extensive conversation that should never be had during the school day. But you know what that year taught her? No one wants to be friends with the quote-unquote sad girl, as some may label her. And yet 365 days later, at grade level F, she looks back on everything, sees old photographs, remembers the pain that she was in, thinking, how am I still here? To answer that question, hope. Hope kept her alive. Hope for a better life where she's happy for longer than a short moment. Hope that at some point this pain will all be over and that she'll find someone who truly cares about her. Now I understand that many of you may think that hope is for the weak. But what you may mistake it for is false hope, which is blindly assuming that only positive things will happen to you without you having to put any effort in and never having to deal with issues. However, true hope is when even through the most difficult times you try your hardest to look forward to something positive, no matter how difficult that may be. To do so, take an example from the young girl. She put effort into doing things that she enjoyed. She spent time with new people that she wanted to hang out with. She got closer to old friends. She traveled, whether it be to Germany, London, or Norway, solely to be happier and herself again. What is important to distinguish between now is that hope is very different from self-efficacy and optimism. Self-efficacy is a belief and expectation that you will master a certain field, while optimism is a belief that everything will work out somehow. While all these three psychological vehicles are very similar to one another, people with self-efficacy expect to master a domain. People with optimism have positive expectations for the future, but do not take into account the control that they have over the outcome. While hope involves considering the strategies and actions that are necessary to achieve your goals. And therefore, hope is much more constructive and not blind faith as many may seem to believe. To add on, what makes hope different from being the same feel-good emotion as happiness is that it is a dynamic cognitive motivational system. Cognitions refer to your thinking, and your emotions follow cognitions. To put it simply, if you put effort into having more positive thoughts, your emotions will follow. This proves that hope cannot be acquired from an outside source, unlike happiness. We become happy over simple things like a funny dog video or a simple interaction with a friend, while hope must involve your thinking, which then translates into your actions. You can hope to get a good grade on an upcoming assignment, but you must then think, what can I do to make this goal a reality? In this case, it would be to set aside time to work on the project or ask others to give comments on your work. But what is the true importance of hope? Well, at any age, you can realize that life can be very difficult for different reasons. What can help you get through those most difficult times is having hope. Research proves that students with higher levels of hope have higher success rates, are more likely to have high-quality friendships, and are less likely to suffer from anxiety and depression. This is because if you believe you are able to succeed, you are more likely to put in as much effort as possible to make that happen. Hope is proved to be a motivating factor for that same reason. Imagine working on a project that you think is going nowhere. Would you put a lot of time into it? My guess is not really. Then, imagine working on the same project, but hoping that it will get you your dream career. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? Therefore, being hopeful will help you reach your goals. But let me tell you, it is perfectly okay to lose hope. As a character from Chicago Med once said, losing hope is not a sign of mental illness. It is a sign of being human. And that is something that I strongly believe. We as teenagers tend to believe what we see, but solely because we don't see a solution to our problems now, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It is simply not visible to us yet. Personally, I believe that hope is what keeps us going every day. Even a desire for a small detail. Maybe you can't wish for a perfect future, but you can wish for a better day than it was yesterday. I recommend to think of it this way. With every terrible day that passes, you are one step closer to having the best moment of your life, whatever that may be. Therefore, what I can promise to all of you today is that one day, looking back on memories through photographs or conversations, you'll be thankful that you didn't give up. Be the girl that never lost hope in the end. Thank you.